The words go together like Kevin Hart and... Really? Another one? Summer and sequels have been together longer than Adam Sandler's been puking out vacations onto the screen. They're far from new to movie-going audiences in the world of franchises and shared universes that we live in. And while a fair portion of these franchises are responsible and well-maintained enough to consistently put out quality entries in their franchises that keep the summer sequel train going, there have been an increasing number of smaller movies that maybe would only ever justify a single film that have been attaching their carts to the franchise train. Movies like Now You See Me and Neighbors or Independence Day are suddenly getting sequels that nobody asked for and even less people saw. And it's these movies that are holding back and dragging down all these other franchises and standalone movies of the summer because they represent just how lazy studios have gotten and how much they have come to take for granted. And this video isn't even taking into account Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice and what an atrocious failure that was, because technically it was released in the spring. But I can bet you that Warner Brothers did not make the money they thought they would on that one, and that movie certainly didn't have any legs at all, because, like many other movies this summer, it was just a terrible movie. In the past 5 years alone, the top 10 of the summer box office has been dominated by sequels and franchises, from the good, like most of the Marvel movies and Pixar movies, to the bad, like the Transformers and everything Minions. But over the last 5 years, the typical top 10s have usually ranged from around 150 mil to 600 mil. But this summer has been far from the typical summer. And at this moment, which granted is not the full numbers, but is a good estimate halfway through of the summer and how it has gone, the number 10 movie, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Out of the Shadows, is at 80 mil, nearing the end of its theater run. And for this summer, that's easily one of the more successful sequel releases. And yet it has a budget of 135 mil before advertising, so they're barely even going to make their money back on it. That's the difference with this summer. Every sequel that comes out isn't an automatic success as much as in previous years, and especially since the number of sequels keep going up and up, it seems like every week there's another sequel that has you saying, they made that? Didn't everyone get enough of Now You See Me the first time? But since the only way to make moolah in the summer is to sequelize anything and everything, more have been coming every year. Aside from the usual suspects that Disney's been putting out, we're slated to bow down to multiple sequels this summer of 2016. Movies like Alice Through the Looking Glass, whose initial movie made over 300 mil in the US alone, and Independence Day Resurgence, a movie that seemed to fit into the Jurassic World mold, an effects-heavy, long-awaited sequel with plenty of nostalgia built up. But unlike Jurassic World, they even got Goldblum to come back. And besides those, we also had another TMNT, a Warcraft movie, and a couple animated movies that always bring in the big bucks from the kiddies. Any other summer, we would have paid to see these movies and probably come out lukewarm, but this hasn't been a normal summer, like I said, and for the first time in a long while, movies seem to be succeeding based more on their merit than just their IP. I mean, sure, we still have Finding Dory with 420 mil and Civil War at 400 mil at the top two, but besides these two sure things, it's been a rather dreadful summer box office. The number 3 movie is currently X-Men Apocalypse, which first off is not a great movie, and second off is only at 154 mil, a number that in past years might have not even landed it on the list. X-Men was lucky though. It wasn't the movie Fox wanted it to be, but at least it had a chance that they'll make their money back, unlike plenty of other movies this year. The rest of the top 10 is a meager list that's mostly under 100 mil, except for Central Intelligence at 108 mil. One of the few comedies of the summer that also was carried by The Rock's unstoppable box office muscles. Followed by the Angry Birds movie at 106 mil, an animated movie about an app that got to the theaters early and soaked up plenty of cash before Civil War really kicked off the summer. And Secret Life of Pets at 104 mil, which in its opening week last week has already claimed the number 6 spot on this list, and by the next week will probably be up to number 3. Now there's an indication of just how weak this summer has been. One of the main reasons behind these weaker numbers is because the big tentpoles we expected to carry away the most money were just plain terrible movies that nobody really wanted to see. I'm looking at you, Alice Through the Looking Glass and ID2. For the first summer in a while, bad movies weren't rewarded just for their name. They were evaluated on their worth as a movie, with only a few exceptions. The most exciting thing this could mean for the future is that it's possible this brings studio execs out of their money slumber that feels like it started with the Transformers, when they all realized they didn't need to try to make a good script or craft an interesting story with well-developed characters, because they could just throw noise and CG at the screen and dull the audiences into continually forking over their money for the same BS every year. And it's become so monotonous at this point that you can really just feel how samey all of these movies are. I mean, coming out of Independence Day as well as X-Men and many other movies, there wasn't a visceral reaction from a lot of people. Sure, people will say it's a dumpster fire of a movie, but at the end of the day, it's just so frickin' bland that no one can really get excited to see it. Certainly not excited to go re-watch it. There's so many movies out there that just do exactly what you expect them to do, that have fallen into the same formulas of 3-act structure and resolution and no stakes that are really anything. I mean, there hasn't really been a movie that's taken that many chances in any kind of way, especially this summer. And that's disappointing to see. Some of the best movies in cinema history are those that take chances, or those that had problems in production, like Apocalypse Now, or like Jaws, who only became the movie it did because Spielberg couldn't actually operate the shark well enough to use it in the movie more, which actually ended up being better for the movie. But there's just so many risks that people don't take anymore, because you can just feel these movies being crafted by studio executives who just want to take the safest route, who just want to do the thing to get their money back. But it's ironic that in doing that, they actually end up losing money and screwing themselves over, because people don't want to see a movie made by committee, Spider-Man 2. They want a good movie. They want a vision that someone had, some kind of creator or a group of creators. I mean, look at Deadpool. Deadpool took a really big chance. It changed the genres and made fun of genres, and it was a really solidified message from that group of people, from Ryan Reynolds' own personality and from the directors and writers, because they actually built it around being a good movie, not just something that you knew. And that's what we need more of. We need more chances, and we need more new ideas that people can go to see, that people can actually enjoy. But now it seems like audiences are starting to wise up and recognize that they're being tricked. Alice 2. Hopefully execs will shift their thinking towards making better movies, even if that means scaling back some CG, if that's what it takes. I mean, some of these bigger studios could really learn a lesson from the people over at Blumhouse, who've continually made low-budget movies that open well and are increasingly good movies. I mean, just look at the Purge movies, which have all been successful for them, and have continually become better films throughout the series. So to close, I'd urge all of you to do what it appears you've been doing this summer. Voting with your money, because it's the best way we can communicate to keep seeing quality movies. And next time you're at the theater and there's a poster for Die Hard Harderist or Top Gun 2 Volleyballers, remember, it's not the name that counts, it's how you make the movie. And hopefully from here on, that can be what determines success at the box office, because if it can come to fruition, then there won't be a movie out there that won't benefit from this shift of thinking and of creation. Thank you so much, guys, for watching my video about this summer and all of the sequels we've had that have just been garbage. Anyways, please subscribe if you liked this video. If you want to see more, I'll be doing more movie reviews, as well as Game of Thrones TV and maybe even some music stuff coming up. You can click right here for my Secret Life of Pets review, or you can click right here for some Game of Thrones stuff and some more movie stuff over here. Anyways, thanks so much. Leave a comment if you want to talk to me about anything. What was your biggest disappointment of the summer? What do you think is going to bomb next summer? And what are you excited to see from upcoming movies for the rest of the summer? Anyways, thanks so much, and I'll be putting up another video soon, so just hang on in there. Anyways, it's Movie Mammoth heading on back to the cave.